sound of Universal Broadcasting Network.
'Cause you make me feel like I've been locked out of heaven.
A mix of today's hits and hard-to-find favorites, combined with the most entertaining and intriguing talk anywhere. This is your sound. This is the sound of Universal Broadcasting Network at UBNradio.com.
Hey, everybody. It is Wednesday, September the 3rd. I'm Emerson Collins.
And I'm Del Shores.
And you're listening to
the Del and Emerson Show. Straight talk.
Real guy. It's getting harder and harder.
I was looking at your hands. I thought you were reaching down and squeezing.
Oh, yeah. No. I can just do that. It's a gift.
You're so talented.
Hi, Del Shores. Welcome back.
Hello.
We'll
How
kick it
are
right
you?
off immediately with Where the Hell is Del?
Well, where am I? I'm here in LA today, but tomorrow I will be in Rehoboth Beach and there all weekend. Go to my fan page on Facebook and look under events. I'll be at the Clear Theater and doing. I wasn't prepared for that, was I?
Well, usually Where the Hell is Del is Where Have You Been?
Where have I been?
And then later we do Where Are You Going to Be? But, you know, whatever.
Where
Your
the
name's
hell
in the
is
title. You can do this however you want.
Yeah, I just wanted to do it a little differently.
But that was great.
I was in Calgary all weekend long, and I had the best time. I have to say, Canadians are so polite. I had forgotten, because, you know, I worked on Queer as Folk up in Toronto. If you bump into them, they say sorry. And they listen to the speech. I spoke at Gay Pride to 50,000 people. They were all listening. I did a sold-out show at Yuck Yucks there. Just had a great time and loved it.
By the way, someone did post the sticker. Mr. Yuck is a thing for all of you who listened last week. It's a thing.
I stand corrected. I
So,
apologize.
yuck.
When I'm wrong, I'm wrong, and I'm so sorry. I'm buying some to put on all the things in my house so my chihuahuas
So
will
the
be
girls know
careful.
not to drink the
Yes.
cleaner under the sink. Well, so all I took away from that story was that you are obviously not Canadian then, if they are polite.
No, no, I'm not.
And also, I mean, I feel like you're being a little modest. You won an award while you were there.
I did. While I was there.
Let's share with people. These were the fellow nominees for this very special, important award that Del won in Calgary. The nominees were.
But what's the award?
No.
You
We're
have
going to
to
say
get-
the nominees, and then we'll
You have to-
explain what the award
I see.
is.
Okay.
The nominees were Vladimir Putin, Lisa Lampanelli, Rob Ford. For those of you who don't know who that is, that's the crack-smoking Toronto mayor. Del Shores, and the terrorist group ISIS.
Yeah,
I
was
mean,
in
you were
such a
in grand company.
Amazing group.
As nominees for the Asshole of 2014 award.
Yes, it was quite an honor when I won this. It was given to me on Facebook by a disgruntled fan, and I had so much fun with it because he posted a meme of me, a really good picture, I have to say. I was really happy because when I post memes about, Jerry
Terrible people,
or, Pat Robertson or
You
somebody,
pick the awful ones.
the worst picture
Yeah.
I can find. I seek out like with their tongue hanging out or something. But this was a good picture. Everybody was very, very complimentary of the picture. But it did say asshole of 2014. Del Shores, and some people were very upset because there's 3 more months left, and I already won.
It's stiff competition. I mean, honestly, it shouldn't. I don't think it should have even said 2014. I think it could have just been a lifetime achievement award.
Thank you so much.
Well, since we could not be there with you, why don't you gift us with your acceptance
Yes,
speech?
I made this a part of my show. You go after me, you'll become a part of my show. So I made this a part of my show at Yuck Yucks, and I had my fans write me an acceptance speech. So I have to give credit to my speech writers, Holly, Joe, Patrick, Cindy, Anthony, Ipo. I don't know who Ipo is. Robbie, Humpback is. I have such a diverse
I mean, those are
group.
some people.
Rob and Rick. And so here's my acceptance speech.
We'll just pretend
I'm going to look right in the camera and go, I've won many awards in my career, but I have to say that winning Asshole of 2014, well, I know that this was the tightest, most clinching award that I have won yet. So with tongue in cheek, I was once a bottom, but now I am on top of this Asshole of 2014 award. What an auspicious, sphinctorious, well-rounded honor in the glory hole of my sordid life. Thank you so much. Stiff competition.
I mean, really. I bet Lisa Lampanelli's pissed.
You know she is. I tweeted it to her.
Wow.
I was bragging. I beat you for asshole of the year, Lisa.
Well, I was about to win it from you with the thought that went through my head on the list of, how sometimes I'm offensive and then sometimes I'm horrifying. I said, well, I bet ISIS is pissed. I mean, heads are going to roll.
Oh, stop. Stop.
Well, I want to compete for the award next year.
You are already, I think I can just hand it over right now.
Did you get a trophy?
I did not get a trophy.
But
I did print out that meme.
When I win, I better get one of those little baseball trophies. Every participation trophy at least. Everybody wins.
We should start these awards for real. Yeah, we really should.
All right. Well, that's fantastic. I laid by the pool and did nothing. So well done.
On Labor Day. Well, that's
and put all my white pants away.
Good. I've never seen you wear white pants.
I
actually.
haven't.
Now I have seen you wear a white swimming suit in Palm Springs that left nothing to the imagination.
Well, I mean, that's what you're supposed to do at the swimming pool.
In Palm Springs at the clothing optional.
Anywhere.
I was going to say clothing optional.
I was the most dressed person at the pool.
Well,
He was compromising.
it was just a flattering look because there was nothing left to the imagination.
All right. Let's get to the news.
Yeah, we got equality, right?
Our equality update. For the first time, our winning streak in same-sex marriage equality has been broken today in Louisiana.
And it just happened.
Yeah.
Just hours ago.
Just today, U.S. District Court Judge Martin Feldman ruled to uphold the Louisiana state ban on same-sex marriage.
Yes, and we're sad about this, although you pointed out something very interesting to me, and several people wrote on the Facebook page that they think this is not a bad thing. Would you like to explain that?
Yeah, it ultimately really isn't. I mean, for one thing, now it means that case will move to the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals that has not yet ruled on same-sex marriage appeals, because that's where the Texas case is also sitting, and the Texas case overturned the Texas law. So it's good for courts to have competing cases because it forces them to pick it up. And if they were the Fifth Circuit upheld this decision, then it gives the Supreme Court opposing decisions, which means they really do need to weigh in, and probably weigh in quickly, which could force it into this next Supreme Court cycle, which would be good.
But this judge wrote some horrible rhetoric.
He's a moron.
He's like, what, 80 years old? Something like that?
I
Appointed
guess.
by Reagan?
I mean, not that there aren't lovely 80-year-olds, but he's been around forever. And, Louisiana being at the forefront of so many things. He said and it
happened right after decadence.
Well, maybe that's what. Well, I put on Facebook. Let's be honest. I really think the only reason he did this is he's getting back at us for 7 years of True Blood being the most homoerotic show in the history of television set in Louisiana.
Could be.
So maybe he's just mad.
They will take that money though down there on Bourbon Street. They will.
Well, I mean, they're also super gay friendly, so the businesses feel differently. But he was ludicrous. Like he said lifestyle choices, that old gem. He used the slippery slope argument, talking about marriage being contract law. Could it be between an aunt and a niece, an aunt and a nephew, brothers, father and child, minors, polygamy? He went on to insult transgender people when he said, what about a transgender spouse? Is such a union same gender or male-female? Well, it's whatever the transgender person's actual gender is. So it's like he doesn't understand anything. We brought in polygamy and incest, and I mean...
What about old judges with limp dicks that marry goats? Is that in there?
No, he did not mention bestiality. I think that's the only gem of this terribly tired argument that he did not include in his
fuck
decision.
him. Welcome to the wrong side of history.
So he'll get overturned.
Martin Feldman.
I mean, that will happen.
But we met the guys who the couple who sued.
We did when we were in New Orleans.
We want to give them
Southern
a shout
Baptist
out.
Sissies.
They gave it was Derek and John Penton Robichaux, and they gave they sent me a statement. He said, Derek said, we have read and are disappointed in the decision. We will continue to explore all of our options. We have always known that this would not be the end of all decision for either parties involved. We will continue to move forward. So good work, John and Derek. You're making a difference, and thank you for that.
Well, and as we start flashing through the gay news, it's a perfect transition into the story of Brad and Angelina finally got married. And so many homos all across America got pissed.
Oh, they got so mad. That's why I got the Asshole of 2014 award, because I went to task for people writing and saying and why did they go to task? I mean, you want to explain?
The story goes back to, in 2006, Brad Pitt said that he would not get married until gay people could get married in our country. And that was a huge deal. They were two of the first celebrities to come out with really big, strong statements about it, and they are world famous. I mean, they are internationally famous. And the slew of celebrities that came out against Prop 8 in 2008 and all of those, followed in their footsteps. So this is 8 years ago that he said this. And in 2012, he made a statement and said, with all of our kids, we might not be able to hold out. And so they got married.
He actually said that the kids were pushing for marriage.
Yes.
And I felt like, they put their family above this past vow that Brad had made, and it was a wonderful thing because he, as you said, they were huge celebrities, brought this to the limelight, and someone was going, oh, they just did it for publicity, and someone on my page was saying Charlize Theron did it first, blah blah blah, with that guy that she's no longer with. But another fan said that he was in a restaurant wearing an Equality t-shirt in New York, and Angelina walked in and walked over to his table and said, we're gonna win this one. She was very supportive. So it's not just a public thing. They live what they preach.
Well,
and I said, why can't we wish them well? They're our allies. Why do we have to write that Time article, that bullshit Time article?
And the title of this post on Time magazine was "Brad and Angelina Getting Married is a Slap in the Face to Gay Americans." That was the title. I literally read the whole piece and I was convinced it was satire.
It
was
felt like
so
it.
extreme, as if they owe us something, as if they haven't put their money where their mouth is, and they do on everything. They are not celebrities that do anything for publicity. They don't need any more publicity.
He did that
ever.
marriage play. What was
Yes.
the name of the play? It was here.
Yeah.
But somebody wrote, after I said, let's all wish them well. Let's wish our allies well and say thank you and best wishes. And this is why I got Asshole of the Year award. LS, I'm not going to say his name, Lee something. He said, I don't wish them well, ever. I can't stand either one of them. And I wrote back, I heard they can't stand you either. And I put a little smiley
probably
face.
true.
The little smiley face. Well, I don't think he's on their radar, actually. So I put the smiley face as a joke.
Right.
He put, suck it, Del Shores. And I said, hey, Lee, I'm gay. To suck it is not an insult. Also, that smiley face means I was joking with you. Then I went on to insult him a little bit more and told him, let's part ways. If you're going to be rude on my page, fuck you. So he made that meme of me as the Asshole of the Year. And it all was because I could blame Angelina and Brad for me getting the Asshole of 2014
No, you can thank them. You
Okay.
can thank them.
So
for
thank you.
So
I
it
know
is
I
because
know
of
they're
it.
listening. I know they're fans.
Well, of all the celebrities that stand up for causes and actually do things, they are two that do work extremely hard for all the things they believe in. So I say congratulations. I hope the United Colors of Benetton children photo. Well, oh my gosh, I'm going to finish the sentence before you start talking.
I'm always scared that you're just going to go, move on. And there was one more thought I had.
I hope they and their
He
children
rushes
had
me.
a fantastic time.
I do too. And guess what?
What?
You can get married in the United States. Everybody can. You just have to go to the right state.
Yeah.
So,
well, and we're
it
getting
is a
there.
technical,
And they
yeah.
definitely did their part. They are still on our team.
So,
All right.
I'm sorry I interrupted you, Emerson. I so profusely
my
apologize.
It is my cross to bear in our relationship. If I didn't start interrupting right as you got right to the end of a sentence, it'd just be a monologue through life. So it is something I have got. It is a skill I have learned well.
You do very well with it, too,
I know.
I have to say.
And only once in a while do you realize it and get annoyed when I go, "Mwah," and I just start, and you're like, no, I'm not done. And I'm like, well, you're never finished.
Well, I have to say that when I listen to us back, I go, hey, he talks a lot, too.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay. It's an equal thing.
Oh, yes.
I was so scared I was just going to railroad you when we first started
No,
the
I
show.
let you do that in our regular life conversations because it's not worth interrupting. But on this, my name's in the title too, and since it has more letters, I'm like 60% of the title.
And since you do more of the research and the work. And speaking of the research that you have done and so much research in your past, let's talk about Grindr.
Oh, yes. Okay, this has actually been a really big deal the last couple of days. A user pointed out that Grindr, the location data that Grindr uses for you to be able to tell how close someone else is to you, was being used by the secret police and religious departments in a number of countries, that they could actually locate very specifically where the user was, and it was a really big deal. So over the weekend, Grindr turned off the location data for 131 countries, worried about the ability to locate them.
Canada was not one of them. I
It
just want
wasn't.
to point out.
But this user found 622 people in Egypt, 349 in Iran, 2,300 in Russia, 926 in Turkey, 29 in Saudi Arabia, 134 in the United Arab Emirates, 228 in the West Bank, and 134 unique Grindr users in North Korea.
What does this person who did all this research do with their lives besides live on
They're
Grindr?
just really smart with computers. I mean, really, of course, ironically, this is what Grindr really should be for. It's not supposed to be for standing at a bar in West Hollywood trying to figure out which of the 140 other people are all on Grindr with you. It's for places where, like, the closest homo might be 20 miles away to have a conversation with. But there really are places where it's really dangerous, so they turned it off. But apparently yesterday they turned it back on. So people have been complaining about Grindr needs to solve the problem, and then other users have said, well, it's your personal responsibility. If you're in a place where it's dangerous, don't use it.
Well, is there an option to turn it off?
You can on all of your apps, you can go in under the general settings and turn off all location data. It would just mean you wouldn't be able to show how close you are to someone else.
I'm already lost. Anytime you say go into those general settings, I'm just fucked. I can't ever figure that shit out. But all right, our next story was a very disturbing and ultimately touching story. I don't know how many of you saw, but I think most of America saw Daniel Pierce's video that he secretly recorded of his family. Did you see it, John?
No.
Where
Coming out to his family. He's got almost 6 million YouTube views now.
was
It's a 5-minute
horrifying.
video of
Horrifying.
a confrontation
Really?
with his stepmother, his father, and his grandparents. And through the course of the video, you see it starts out, his mother says, I love you, but I believe in the word of God, and God created nobody that way. And he talked about science, and she basically said, screw science, I believe God, and you need to move out. I won't let people believe I condone what you do. She slapped him, and he got called a damn queer, a disgrace, a little piece of shit, and physical violence threatened in the course of this 5-minute video.
He's a strong boy, though. I mean, he's 20 years old, and what I really loved about was horrifying this video. But first of all, she was in a matter of seconds, she contradicted herself. She said, "I have known that you were gay since you were a little boy," and then she went on to say, "But I know that this is a choice that you made." And he was saying it is not a choice, but I don't know which was it the dad or the grandfather who was saying you are a disgrace, and he just screamed out, "I am not a disgrace. I am not a disgrace." It was a very powerful thing. And then his boyfriend went to...
Let's talk about the video for one more second before we get to the second part of it, because I think that what's really important, it's as we've traveled the country with Southern Baptist sissies, we hear a lot of people talk about these stories of how they deal with being gay and conservative and specifically religious families. And this is sort of the first time somebody's been able to capture... Yeah, we hear those stories, but he actually captured the moment where it happens.
Yes.
What so many people in small
like a
conservative
reality
towns
show.
go through and what this experience is like. And when someone tells you, they threaten me and they kick me out, it's hard to imagine what that's like if you didn't have that experience. But to be able to watch in 5 minutes what it really sounds like when someone says, I love you, and get out of my house and you're going to hell all at once, I think it was really eye-opening for a lot of people who don't have religious background, who don't understand the struggle that we dealt with in Southern Baptist sissies. So I think his experience is really special because I think a lot of other kids will be able to say that's, what my family was like too, that video. I think it helps communication and people understanding the traumatic experience that coming out really is for many people in the South. And then a really great thing happened as a result.
Yes, his boyfriend set up a GoFundMe and asked for $2,000 basically just so that he could relocate. And I guess it's not up to $94,000.
Yeah,
right now.
they set a $2,000 goal and they've raised over $94,000.
And he's asked people, so he can almost buy himself a new home. But the wonderful thing that he has done is, he was so overwhelmed so quickly. It was literally within 24 hours, it was up to like $30,000, and it was just building. And so much hate was on his page from even our community saying, well, now that you've got your money, don't be greedy, start giving it away. And this is like, it was just flooding in, and he didn't know what to do. He didn't even have time to answer. I'm sure he was getting I wrote him an email. I wanted him to come on the show, and
But he did come up with a great plan.
He did.
He found this organization in Atlanta. It's lostandfound.org, and they work specifically with LGBT homeless youth, which ties back into that great thing that Miley Cyrus did for homeless youth. But so he's asking people to donate, and if you want to contribute to this story and to other people who experience what Daniel did, it's www.lost-in-found.org. So it's a great organization for LGBT homeless youth, and he has said he's going to donate the excess to that as well. So a really great series of conversations and benefits are coming out of this.
And he wrote a wonderful statement. He talked about the overwhelming compassion and generosity, but I loved what he said. It's important for you all to know that right now what I need most is to think and work through the next steps of my life. So I'm so happy that he's found this organization to help him, and I hope he's listening. If he is, and if anybody knows him, tell him that we are here for him. And I love that he saw so much love. I've said it many, many times. You may lose the family you were born with, but you are going to gain a wonderful, supportive family, and he saw that very quickly.
Yep. Well, while you were in Calgary over the weekend, flashing on through the gay news, the internet basically broke.
What?
When a hacker hacked into an enormous number of female celebrities' phones and iPhone information and released an absolute slew of their personal naked photos to the internet. Now, I love this story for one reason. For one thing, the big star that everyone's talked about is there were some 60 photos of Jennifer Lawrence. Please do us all a favor. Do not Google these images. They belong to her personally. They are not for all of us to share. But the reaction has really been amazing to this story because for the first time, when this happened to Vanessa Hudgens in 2007, Disney basically said, well, we hope she's learned her lesson, that she needs to be a person of more integrity and not do this
Shaming
kind of
her.
behavior. Yes. Because Jennifer Lawrence is such a big star and people love that she's the sort of cool girl that's relatable and smart, the reaction has actually been not against her, but against the hacker and about how this is a sexual attack on her. This is an invasion of her privacy, which it is. We've finally gotten to the point where we can acknowledge being a sexual being is not something that's wrong in our society. She is a 21, 22, 23, 24-year-old adult, that she's sexual. And technology is a part of our sexual communication now.
And she can, and these were done with boyfriends or dates or interests.
Even
so
if she just did them for herself.
Or say, hey, girl, my girlfriend, what do you think about my breasts?
I look good, and I'm not going to look like this forever, and I want to have photographic proof.
I mean, when you're 24, that's when you want nude photos.
Take those
around.
photos.
Yes. But I was talking to our friend Caroline Ray last night about this whole thing, and she is very upset that nobody has tried to hack into her and release. She feels sure that she has uploaded at least one or two in the iCloud, and Caroline, we're rooting for you. We're hoping that you get hacked and those are released shortly.
But it truly is great. I mean, because we do live in an age where, we're about to have the generation of people running for politics who grew up with Snapchat and Instagram and Facebook and Twitter and all these things. And as these things come out, it kind of like coming out stories where it's starting to just not be a cover story that some actor is gay. It should start to be like this with this kind of photos. Like, this is somebody's personal privacy that you invaded. This isn't a scandal. This is
unless it's Anthony Weiner, and then he deserved that. Come on, because it was all in adultery and it was all crazy.
I mean, I guess I just don't know what his sex life has to do with his ability to run do his political work.
Well,
that's sort of between him and his wife.
Did they make it?
Yeah, they're still together.
They're still together.
But it's great that we finally stopped blaming women, and that there's the response of people that are just saying, just don't take those pictures. You don't have the right. You can't. No, what is that? Like, you shouldn't have money in a bank because the bank got robbed. You have the right to do whatever you want. This is an invasion of these women's privacy and nothing else, and they should not be blamed. And it's finally seeming like we're turning the corner on realizing that that's what is happening in this situation, and people stop using the word scandal.
And we also are being told by Apple this was not an iCloud breach. This was absolutely a targeted attack to these
So I guess
celebrities.
the rest of us don't have to be. Although mine are out there. They have been sent too often to too many people, and
I've been really, really select. There's like one boyfriend that I felt safe enough, and I feel that I trusted the right person, but. Because you just never know.
I know. The interesting thing is that movie Sex Tape. Have you guys heard about that movie?
Yes, I
that
saw the
nobody
previews.
saw.
Very interesting timing if you think about it.
Yeah.
Because it says beware of the cloud.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
the moral of that story was don't do it. But
Yeah.
really, we live in an age where like you should. This is not on these women. This is on the person who stole this stuff from them.
Yeah,
You know, it's
absolutely.
so.
Well, I love the next story. You brought this to our attention a few weeks ago, right?
Yeah, let's-
Chase Culpepper.
Yes, real quick check-ins with old stories. That kid that we told you about a number of weeks ago, the South Carolina teen who was told to take off his makeup for his driver's license photo, that he is sort of gender non-conforming and makeup makes him feel happy. Well, he is suing the DMV in South Carolina, and I applaud that. I don't even applaud it
Yay.
for this reason. I'm just glad he's suing the DMV. Somebody should have sued him for those lines a long time ago. But he wants the photo policy reviewed. He thinks it's too broad and that leaves too much power in the DMV employees' hand to determine how people look. And I agree. Everybody
do
hates their driver's
too.
license photos. You should at least get 2 tries.
Well, shouldn't it? It should look like what you look like when you're driving. So if that's the way he looks on a daily basis, that's what it should have been.
Yes.
So it's just again bullshit.
So good for you,
DMV,
Chase
and-
Culpepper. I hope you win. And another quick, we joked about this story last week, the Doctor Who lesbian kiss on the BBC that 6 people complained about. Well, the lesbian kiss got cut for all of Asia. They did not show it in Singapore, Thailand, South Korea, or Hong Kong. They did not get their lesbian moment. So all of those Asian lesbians did not get their 3-second kiss.
Do we need a moment of silence?
I
about-
do, for the lesbians.
It is a very odd, strict thing going on there.
Well,
right?
Asia's crazy. This isn't even in our list, but I saw this story a minute ago, and it's actually totally worth telling for the lesbians. 2 women in Malaysia have been arrested for being lesbians because a dildo was found in their hotel room.
Oh.
They were arrested by the religious police in Malaysia. Like, this is really serious.
My
you know,
God, I could get arrested right here for being a lesbian.
we talk about, we talk about where we are in our fight for marriage equality, but I mean, all these places where it is truly, truly dangerous. You know, they live under Sharia, Sharia law, and in Malaysia, these 2 women have been arrested for a dildo. And like in Russia, the Crimea, the Russia had, this was a story we skipped, where they've taken it over from the Ukraine. He basically said there better not be any LGBT protests because we don't want that kind of people here. It's just not our style.
Wait. I want you to read that.
No.
You're an actor.
It's just not our style. We don't need such people in Crimea, and they will never hold public events. The police and self-defense forces will react quickly, and in 3 minutes they'll explain the orientation that needs to be kept. I mean, Russia, with what's happening in ISIS, even in, the West Bank and Gaza, the LGBT citizens in Gaza and the West Bank have to be very careful because of the extreme nature of Islam there. So as we fight for our rights, it's important to continue to remember that there truly are places in the world where it is still extremely dangerous to actually be
Yes,
LGBT of any
absolutely.
kind. And finally, what's gay in sports ball?
Oh, well.
If we didn't have this Michael Sam story, I have learned more
I'm
about...
worried now that it looks like it's going to kind of go away. We're not going to have any more sports ball
I don't know
stories.
who else we'll talk about. I have learned more about sports ball and how you actually play football from these Michael Sam stories than I have from... I did not know there were 53 players on a sports ball team. They have. For those of you who don't know, last week the Rams cut Michael Sam just before the deadline for their 53-player roster. Head coach Jeff Fisher said, I was pulling for him, but it didn't work out. There was no distraction. Mike fit in very, very well. He was fun to be around, no issues. Now, but a number of people since have pointed out that it still smacks of homophobia, not inherently for the Rams specifically, because there's all these things I don't know about where a player fits on a team, but there were 12 players, and I'm going to read this because none of these words mean anything to me. 12 players had 2.5 or more sacks this preseason. That just makes me think of sex. 10 are on 53-man rosters. 1 is on a practice squad, and the last, Michael Sam, hasn't found work. And Mike Freeman from the Bleacher Report said, "It can't be stressed enough how Sam not being signed despite a productive preseason is almost unprecedented. In my 2 decades of covering the NFL, it isn't just rare, it's basically unheard of for a player to not make the league after playing that well in preseason. A player who produces like Sam did almost makes it on some roster in the league, either on a practice squad or 53-man roster." But there's great news today.
Yeah. We heard Dallas Voice reported that the Cowboys are looking at him. Is
Yeah,
that
they
correct?
signed him. The Dallas
They did.
Cowboys coach Jason Garrett announced at a press conference today that Michael Sam has been signed to their practice squad. He did not mention his sexuality or distractions. He just said, "We're happy to have him." And Sam sent out some great tweets saying, "I'm a huge fan of the Cowboys. Grew up watching them in Houston, and I'm excited to help them win a 6th." What is it they win? Super Bowl. That's where they have the Beyonce concerts, right?
Yes.
Yes,
They're
Super
great
Bowl.
Well, here's the other thing about this whole thing as I'm reading it and trying to I don't understand anything that you just read about all that stuff. But what I do understand is distractions, and I do think that you don't perform as well when there are such distractions. And I don't know how that couldn't have affected him. That crazy ESPN reporter and the showering and all that shit. I mean, do you agree?
I do. Well, not only that, I think he performed extremely well as their point. So
Despite
that's
of.
with all of, the attention and the pressure that he obviously has more than other players had. So hopefully it just means that he and the Cowboys will have a great relationship. And hey,
He's a Texan.
And the Dallas neighborhood can probably be super excited. And maybe if he does well in the practice squad, they said something about the bench is not very deep. So maybe he
I don't know
eventually
what
will
that
get to
means.
play. I think it means there's not particularly too many people in the positions he might go into, and so maybe it'll mean he'll end up on the team. But it could be quite a while till we see him in a game.
I was like going
and I
to-
make this commitment now. I am not watching a single sports ball game until Michael Sam is playing on the TV.
All right. Well, good
So I'm
for you.
giving that up.
Emerson, I'm so proud of you. That's hard. That's a difficult
I know.
thing for
It's
you.
a sacrifice that I'm
Oh,
making.
good.
Well,
Good man.
That's flashing through the gay news.
Wow, we
We
went
are going to go on a quick
fast.
break, and we will be back immediately after this with our incredible guest, singer, songwriter, rock star, dance board diva, Debby Holiday. And right now we're going to play you a very special track from her 4th upcoming album. This is from the rock side of her upcoming double album, Free to Be, and it's with our great friend Levi Christ. So enjoy this for a moment, and then we'll be back with Debby Holiday.
Debby Holiday.
Hearts get stolen, love gets choked inside the games we play. Tangled feelings, pins and needles, with every step we take. So now you wanna lay your garden down. Yeah, now you wanna stay. With all your indecision and all this push and pull, your givens got me broken, so broken. So why don't we ever change? Twisted, unspoken, the words you never say. I promise you, I promise you. Mad confusion, sweet illusion, drags me back to you. We're almost tasted, find it and wasted, no matter what we do. So here we are again, distorted, like images that fade. You're asking me to hang on, quiet, smiling with nothing left to say. We're broken, so broken, so why don't we ever change? Twisted, unspoken, words you never say.
All right, that is an incredible preview of two of our favorite voices. Welcome, Debbie Holiday.
Hello,
Yes.
handsome. How are you?
So good. How are you?
I'm excellent. I'm good.
For those of you not watching the webcast, you should be because she looks fantastic.
Thank you.
Always.
I had to put a face on today. I've been like stuck
me
in my
too.
studio.
Yeah.
You always look amazing.
Oh, honey, I shellac that shit. How are you? I love this track. I'm so
you.
excited about this album.
Thank you.
From the very beginning. First of all, you kickstarted this album.
I kickstarted it, and then I Indiegogo'd it, and then I Indiegogo'd it again.
Yes.
Yeah.
In order to do like something really, really special and amazing that sort of covers all of your musical breadth. I love
Yeah.
that. Tell us about it.
Well, I called it Free to Be because I'm sick of hearing that like if you do dance or if you do rock, the twain shall not meet, and of course they can meet, and both of them come from an energy of wanting to sort of break out. To sort of, whether it's dance, whether it's I've got something I'm angry about or something I want to emote, they're very energetic. And I just wanted to put a record out with both of them, so I'm free to be whatever the hell I want to be.
Well, and
Had to get back on
people like to define. They like to put
Yeah.
you in one place or the other.
In a box.
And I think a lot of people do not realize that your roots are rock.
Oh,
I mean, that's where you started and where we all loved and found you. And
The reason I know you is because of rock music.
Yes.
For people who don't know the story, I was in a club playing with my great friend Shayna Fiore. We both had shows that night, and Travis Howard and Levi Christ walked in. We talked afterwards, became fans of each other. And that's how I met Levi, and then that's how I met you. That's how I met Drew. I mean, that's why I'm doing dance music. So, because of rock.
she seems to be cutting in and out. John, do you hear that?
I see.
Do-
I
or-
actually see it. What's going on?
Are we?
Yeah.
Should I speak louder into the microphone?
You're fine.
If I get louder, it can be dangerous.
But so it's two discs, like
Yeah.
one whole rock disc and one whole dance
One
disc.
whole dance record, exactly. And not remixes. You know how dance records, there's a lot of remixes. So
Right.
it's one song, 10 ways. No, this is 10 separate dance tracks. And I have found through this journey that since I haven't put out a rock record in years, like, because I've been doing dance music, I'm being really insanely particular. And whether it's
and thus
Good.
a little bit of a delay. You
And
were
a little bit
telling
of
us
delay.
before we
Yeah,
started, which
yeah.
is fine.
Which,
It's worth the wait.
But it's a little psychotic. Like I'm dancing, I'm rocking, I'm dancing, I'm rocking, and it's sort of and just going back and forth because the vocal place that you come from is slightly different.
right.
Sure.
And so it's like taking on a role. You know, it's still a part of you, but there's been a lot of time in my studio alone.
Well, and also you're
wine.
doing everything.
I'm doing it.
Wrote it, I sing it, I'm mixing it, I'm producing it. I mean, wearing all of the hats on top of those
Yes,
braids.
making me slightly crazy, just a wee bit insane. Just a
Can you
wee-
please intro one of them in your fake British voice? Hello, this is Debbie Holiday.
Hello, I'd like you to understand that performing with John White has been fantastic, and he's doing a song with me called I'm Ready, and it's a rocker, and that's for you, Johnny. Love
Gonna
you,
rock
baby.
out.
It's a rocker, yeah. Rock.
Yes.
Yeah, rock out with you. Out.
I
Yeah.
always just
Cock.
love
Can
it.
I say cock?
Yes.
Yeah, you can say anything on our show,
Oh,
and we
that's
have
such
said
a
everything.
bad idea.
It's,
That's such a
there
bad
are
idea.
no rules here.
For those who don't know, because I love having you here, and like I think lots of our fans are super familiar with your music, but the music goes all the way back for you. I don't think a lot of people know the whole story of, your dad was a musician and an extremely well-known and successful songwriter. I mean, music has
Yeah.
been in your blood from the beginning
Yes.
across all styles,
Yeah.
right?
5 years old, I remember just humming around the house. And I must have hit a bad yanked over to the piano and said, sit down. That was not in key. And so my dad, Jimmy Holiday, wrote Put a Little Love in Your Heart and a bunch of really amazing songs for Ray Charles and Kenny Rogers. And I think I learned that whole loving all kinds of music from my lifestyle because my mother was a classic pianist and my faux mother, but that's a whole nother story. We can't even start that conversation.
If we go down that trail, we won't get back
No.
today.
So, but her taking me to Alice Cooper concerts when I was a little wee girl, and my dad, walking in and having, like the Tower of Power literally in our studio in the back of our house. So there was a lot of information.
That's eclectic.
It's eclectic, yeah. okay to love all.
I want to talk about your dad just for a second because I asked you before. I said anything off limits, and you know we've gone on a journey together. You were in Trailer Trash Housewife, later the movie Blues for Willadine, and we talked a lot about some of the issues of that play and that movie that paralleled your own life that you could draw upon so much that I had to make
you bitched at me the entire time.
Don't you cry? Don't you cry?
Bitched at
It's her
me.
story.
It's like
But-
it's not my fault. Everyone's a good actor, and you're a great playwright.
But I noticed something in your work and in your artistry in the last, I think it's more like the last year, where it feels like that you've reconciled a lot of the anger that was there, and you're embracing the heritage and admiring the talent and the artistry,
Yeah.
even though...
Put a Little Love in Your Heart's going to be on this record. It's the first time I've even ever sung it.
How did that happen? What
I'm going to try to see, looking at you and think about everything. You make me all teary-eyed. I hate you, Del Shores.
I know, it's like I'm the gay Barbara Walters. I make everybody.
You totally are.
I could not get Alec Moppa to cry, though. I could not.
Bring him back. I think you get to a point in your life. First of all, I sang it live for the first time in front of a bunch of people. And I looked around, and whether it was younger kids who'd heard it from their parents all the way to grandparents, they all started singing along. And
Or on a Gap commercial.
and again,
I mean,
cha-ching. Still fighting that, but that's a whole nother story again. There's so many stories. I think the idea of accepting, getting to the point where, as difficult as my father was, he was a violent, troubled man, and getting to the point where you can look at someone's good in spite of their flaws, even when they're major flaws, it actually feels better for me. So I think I did it for a completely selfish reason. I wanted to feel good. I wanted to not have anger in my heart.
Well, we were there the night that you sang that live. It was magic. You starting at the back of the room and walking through that room singing "Put a Little Love" was
And
amazing.
seeing all these people singing along, and they're like, think of your fel. And the idea of that many people, and the other thing is realizing that a lot of my whole idea to be positive and to write music that inspires others to do well,
Right.
came from my dad.
Well, and so interesting that you've literally just described the theme of the song. So it's so great to sort of embrace that legacy.
Put a little
by
love in your heart.
doing the words of this song that this man wrote. That's literally the process that you've gone through to deal with. I mean, there's something sort of coming full circle about that and being able to embrace that in the song that he created with him now in your voice and your music and the heritage that he gave you that is the good stuff. And that's kind of amazing.
And I can look at his photos and smile, which has not been the history of my life.
Well,
which is great.
I say it to actors over and over again, and we've worked in that capacity. You have to embrace the damage, because part of your success is because of that damage.
I know I'm so passionate about things because of the damage. But I try actually to not look at it as damage. I look at it as molding. It's how we've been molded.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And then if I don't call it damage, then it can just be, oh, that's part of how I'm molded. And those are the experiences that I had, and it makes me much more compassionate than I think I would have been if you have a perfect, cute little life. And I feel like I understand a lot of different cultures because of meeting so many in my childhood. So I'm actually grateful.
And you can write about things.
And I can write
And you
about
can
it.
scratch and
Yeah.
scratch deep.
And I can
those,
scream real loud, Wardell.
And it gives you the material to create 20 tracks for 2 different albums to release all at the same time.
do sometimes as you were making this record, do you have all the tracks now?
All the tracks are there. I haven't finished all the vocals, and it's been a journey to do that.
Was there a time where you go, oh my God, I'm up to 17. What the hell am I going to write about next?
What else I got to say?
I actually am working on another track for a different project right now, and I'm sort of like helping them just sort of mold. There's that word again, the lyrics a little bit, and I was like, oh, thank God the lyrics are written. Oh God, because I'm out. I got nothing.
Yeah.
I've written about it all for now. You have to
Right,
you
I
have
gotta
to
live
go
a little more.
Yes, you have to go
Yes.
live life, and I'm like in my studio, not
Well, you know
Yes.
what's going to happen. You can now just go perform all these beautiful tracks for the next few years and bank.
You know, it is funny though.
You hear that,
ju-
licensing
you hit
people?
on something, but because you and I tend to dive deeply into like nonsensical, esoteric, personal
Who,
exploration
us?
territory.
Nuh-uh.
But it's something I think a lot of artists, and I think all kinds of artists, whether you're a writer, actor, singer, visual artist, forget that your work product is a result of living your life. And no matter how much time you spend, doing the work, you do have to remember to like live a life around that in order to continue to have new experiences and have new things to say and new
Absolutely.
things to contribute and to refill that well
Yeah.
that you dip into.
Here's a question. Do you find that sometimes with social media, because I have this love-hate relationship with social media, because sometimes I feel like it makes me get so into me that I stop observing others. And the best songwriter, one of the best songwriters I know, is a countryman, said to me, "Don't ever forget to keep watching them.
Yeah.
Keep looking. Keep observing."
I'm so into
That's my Nashville accent.
I'm so into me
good
that
one.
that's not really a problem. No, I'm kidding. No, I actually
do-
have this conversation regularly with people. It's an interesting balance because now the ability to interact and really share a lot with fans as you go. I do think and it's different for each person because he does it amazingly and he gets recharged
so
from
great
it and
at
gets
it.
inspired by the conversations and it gives him new material. But, I know other people that you'd find it really a struggle. And I always think of it as like it's sharing the in-between moments, but remembering to protect the time you need to make the big moments important. Not feeling like you're giving stuff away, but feeling like you're sharing. Not say like that's the way I have to approach it, and I do. For me, it's a release, and it's like I don't share my insecure moments. I think those people are crazy. I
don't
share
either.
my like. I saw this thing today and
I'm
thought it
with
was
you.
completely ridiculous,
Yeah.
and I want to know who else thought it was ridiculous too. Raise your hands.
Yeah.
But that's my approach. Other people, it's
I don't want
literally
empathy or
every
sympathy from
thought.
strangers because people like us, our Facebooks are mostly comprised of a lot of people we don't know personally.
Yes.
And so I'm not really interested in sharing some of my deepest private moments with strangers.
Unlike our friend Leslie Jordan, who
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 just
I-
diarrhea of the mouth.
I love it.
That
but
one.
they love him for that. They love it.
Absolutely.
And I talked to him about it one time. I said, Leslie, you do realize, he's up to like 50,000 people on his
Yeah.
fan page now. I said, you realize, he goes, I don't know. It just feels like I'm just talking to somebody in my living room. And I go, well, you're not. This is reaching out.
And I think I'm too codependent or something because if I don't respond to everyone, if I don't get back to people, I feel really guilty. So I'm always trying to respond to everyone.
Yeah,
And then
me
when
too.
when I post something that sort of seems like a question or I'm feeling down and all these people say, "Oh, honey, I tell you what, here's what you need to do." I want to say, "Oh, thank you" to each and every person that took the time out of their life to say to me something. So I have this twisted sense of responsibility because you can't get back to everyone. But then I feel bad.
Well, I actually treat it just like I treat friends. Like my voicemail and text message and Twitter and Instagram and Facebook, none of those things are your right to get a response to me. They are your right to share something with me, and then I can respond as I am able and as it is a priority. But I do the same thing with my friends. Like I don't answer the phone just because you called if I'm in the middle of something. So I'm not treating anyone any differently.
I won't go into any details, but you taught me a very valuable lesson about responding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
there is. And
Yeah.
and I think it also helps you cut out the crazy because 95% of people are amazing. It's the people who don't understand, "Oh, you live a life and 80 people commented on this and of course you don't have time necessarily to get right back to mine."
And do you occasionally get the people who were like, "I cannot believe I inboxed you like 2 days ago,
Yeah.
and you have not responded yet."
Well,
and it's like,
and how about the
100
ones that-
inbox messages?
I do my very, very best. I really do.
Me
But
too.
I'm short and sweet. But sometimes you drop something and
Yeah.
and then someone confronts you at a show. I wrote you and you say you write everybody back and you don't. And I'm like, I'm sorry, but thanks for buying the ticket to this show to
really
tell me that.
sorry.
But see, and that just tells me about them though, because I interact with a lot of people. We have great fans of the People's Couch, and like I get back to some people and I don't to others. And when someone comes like that, I'm like, you probably treat your real friends this way, and so I don't need to engage with you.
That's a good point.
You
The
know?
only people I expect to get back to me right away are my real friends, like you guys, so don't ever be late.
Right.
No, I'm no. I'm
No,
scared.
no,
I'm too
no.
scared of you.
You're
I'm not scared of you.
No, I'm
Debbie
scared of
Holiday.
I've gotten meaner because of you, though.
because of me. What?
No, you know what? I've gotten tougher.
Well, you know I am asshole of 2014.
I know,
Thank you. You knew
congratulations.
that I was in the running, right?
I so love that you posted that. I was like showing it. I had a bunch of people at my house for recording, and I was like, "Look what he did. I love him.
Well, what do? You could get mad, say, "How dare you make this of me?" Or then you could just laugh at it because it was very funny and ludicrous.
It was ludicrous,
And-
and you confront ludicrous and slap its face.
And
I
see?
had a great show.
Not the actual ludicrous.
And he's my barometer too. Every time I write something and think, "Oh no," I'm like, "Oh, Del Shores would say worse than this." So I'm
Way
fine.
worse.
I'm so fine.
But you know what's so crazy about our relationship is I literally, especially when it comes to people I care about or a more business friend kind of thing, I will pick up the phone. Did it last night, and I go, "Emerson, am I being too mean in this email? am I
Do
coming?"
that to me.
Yeah.
You'll show me an email that you've already sent, by the way.
I
Like,
know. That's
"Dad,
when I'm.
Do you think this is too much?
Yeah.
You're like, it says sent
That
5
ship
hours
has
ago.
sailed.
Yeah.
Too late now.
You should have asked earlier. I'm doing
But
better.
I have become the person that is like, no, if that's what you felt, it was fine.
But I do believe, and I have gotten better about sitting on them, writing them and keeping them in the draft.
Sitting on the actual people,
Well, that's a fun game too.
depending on who it is.
Yeah, yeah, well,
I threw
yes.
you for a
Oh, I
loop
just
there.
got that. That took me a second.
Oh, your hair looks great today, though. Well, before we go,
Yeah.
would you just like sing a little something of something? I mean, just a little
yes, 'cause
spontaneous,
I was supposed
like.
to do live, but we didn't, and so let's see. I guess that would make the most sense to sing a little bit of Dive.
Yes,
snippet
we'll
or
just dive on
something.
in for a minute.
And that song, which is become such an anthem, started as a rock song,
As a
right?
rock song.
So it was. So when you say "Let's
And
pigeonhole" or
of course, you
whatever,
remember me sending it to you, and you saying, "Yeah, I think that would be a good remix,"
it was.
and it worked out all right.
Because sometimes it's 4 a.m. and you hate your life.
Yeah, but that's when you have to dive on in.
Just dive.
I
on
love
Excuse
those
me.
lyrics so much. That part of that song I love so much, and it's so wonderful in Southern Baptist Sissies that we were able to use that. So thank you for allowing
My
that because
pleasure.
I know we didn't pay you much.
And to my rock band that would never perform that song because it was too dancey.
in. Whatever.
There you go. Well, let's hear a little Dive.
Let's see. I guess I'll just do the chorus. It's a great big world and we are still alive. Hey, it's a great big world, so baby, come on, dive on in.
Wow.
Yes.
No auto tune here.
Oh.
We don't have that.
People that can
ability.
actually sing and do it live every time. You are a rare breed, Miss Debby Holiday. For people who want to know, is it possible to pre-order if the album currently, if they didn't contribute to the Kickstarter?
They
Where
will
do they
be
go?
able to. It'll be on my Facebook and it'll be on Reverb Nation when they can.
Great.
Yes.
And how do people find you on the interweb to stalk you on the social medias?
Facebook and Twitter is the best.
Yeah,
because
and they are at
yeah.
Debby Holiday.
Debby Holiday. Yes.
Great. Well, thank you so much for coming and hanging out with us
I'm so
today.
glad you asked
It is
me. This
such a
is great.
pleasure to
Yeah.
enjoy your intelligence and talent.
Likewise.
And lift the caliber of our
This
show
is a good
for a little
person,
while.
everybody. I want y'all to know
Genuinely
that.
good.
She is one of our favorites.
She is-
She goes out of her way to be kind to people. She is a good person.
No, I'm trying to build
and
up this tough
I'm
image.
asshole of 2014. You're not. You are a good person, and you are wildly talented. And I am so blessed. I've said it many, many times. My life is better, and my career is better because of you, and I thank you for that.
Likewise.
Well, thank you guys for listening today. If you have missed other shows, you can always go to iTunes and download them for free. In fact, you should subscribe on iTunes. It will automatically download
did.
to your iTunes, and then you can just listen to them casually running at the gym. What? A 43-minute show? That's perfect for a trip on the treadmill. You can also find us on Facebook, The Del and Emerson Show, at facebook.com and on
And it
Twitter.
helps our ratings when you download.
It does. So, and you can always go to the UBN Radio website and listen to it there. You can find me on Twitter at Actually Emerson. Let's work on my nomination for Asshole of 2015, and at Del Shores on Twitter.
and I'll be in Rehoboth Beach on Friday and Saturday night.
So if you're in Delaware or anywhere near, because there's like 8 other states close to there, drive on
Yeah.
over and see the show.
It's
DC.
on my fan page, so please come over and say hey.
Next week we have with us the phenomenally talented and entertaining and trans activist Calpurnia Adams will be with us. So join us next week for that.
Yes, thank you so much for being with us today.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Now that you've found UBN Radio and discovered our quality talk shows, it's time to spread the word to friends, family,
and the universe. 24 hours of music and talk. Radio without limits. That's why people keep coming back for more. That's ubnradio.com.
You don't get them girls loose, loose. You don't get the world loose, loose. You don't get money, Mr. Worldwide. But I do, I do. You don't get them girls loose, loose. You don't get the world loose, loose. You don't get money, oof, oof. But I do.